Okay, our beloveds, so we will begin a slightly different lesson today to bring you all back to the present, to the here and now. You're worried so much about the future, about what next week, next month, next year will bring. You worry about the past and how that affects the future, and how your past this and past that affect your past future, and why and how and all of that good stuff. Well, when you are putting your point of consciousness into a point in the future, or are residing in a time in the past, it keeps you everywhere but in the present, where you are just meant to go through life like an all-seeing eye that just is in the here and the now. The objective is, the long-term objective is, to have you be present in the here and the now without any concern about the future or the past. So we want to have you visualize the infinity symbol and picture that the teardrop circle to the right is the future, and the teardrop circle to the back or to the left is the past. When you are anywhere on that loop, you are not present in the now, and the now is in the center where the lines cross. And the goal and objective is to have you always and forever be present with your consciousness in the now, even though there is a future that you plan for but don't obsess over, and a past that you can relive but not worry about. And when you are present in the now, all of the information that you need in order to make any decision at any point in time is available to you to draw upon in that moment of the now. We have been working with our another on this, and it is beginning to resonate a little bit more within her body. When she is present in the now, we share with her, focus on this, think about this, do this. And she is provided the tools at every moment that she needs in order to get through that moment. And there is not a lengthy discussion about why is this the best thing to do, and what are the consequences, and why would we ask her to do one thing versus another. There's none of that critical thinking that we have been encouraging you all to engage in. It is simply being in the now. Think of a wolf in the wild. When a wolf in the wild acts or engages in any activity, it is truly an instinctual response to its current circumstance. It draws upon all of its past experiences as well as its ancestral knowledge about how things come together. But each and every decision is made in the now, to run away, to attack, to stay or to go on, to nurture versus to punish or discipline, to be loving versus being aggressive with a new pack member. It is instinctual based on what is the right vibrational response within that moment. And it is not an obsessive thought about, well, if I do one thing, then this could be the possible consequence, but if I do this other thing. When you trust that you are given everything that you need, and each and every moment you allow us and your soul to guide you a little bit more on the appropriate response. Fight or flight. Do you run away? Do you stand and fight? Do you protect versus defend versus abandon? These are the appropriate responses that your body will guide you on when you are in a healthy point of balance. And you cannot do this until you have resolved much of your trauma, because otherwise your trauma will guide you to continue to make those decisions that may have served you in the past to keep you alive, but won't serve you in this new energetic imprint of living and residing within the unconditional love or loving vibration. And you will find as you move into this more central or cohesive point of consciousness that all is simply one anyway, and that every decision that you make is guided by your inner knowing, and you don't have to worry and fear about the future or the past so much. And with time, you will fit into this vibrational space. Abraham Hicks calls it the vortex. Many other religions have their own particular place within the Christian religion. Is just trusting that God has you and you don't need to worry or fear. But the overall objective is the same, and that is that you are in a placement of trust and faith that all is exactly as it should be and will be exactly as it should be, because each moment is leading you to the next, which is leading you to the next, which is leading you to the next. And if you allow the river of life to just take you down this path without so much obsessive worry, this OCD responsiveness that the human brain has naturally gone to in order to try to avoid all pain and suffering and undesirable outcomes, you oftentimes create more of those because of your restrictive nature versus your expansive nature of allowing things to just grow into what they are meant to be. It is an unusual journey for a culture, for a society, for a construct that has grown into this space of overthinking, over-planning, over-structuring, over-worrying, instead of allowing yourself to just be like the Kikero tribe after the alpha males were killed off. They were no longer in that vibrational state of fear of being whacked upside the head. They were in now a loving, inviting, collaborative space. And within that type of an environment, there were still squabbles, but they were natural outgrowths of points of frustration in that momentary time versus a culture that was based on restriction, compulsory behavior, cruelty, and abandonment if you did not adhere to those cultural norms. We're moving you into this new vibration that we have shared about, and the more we can get you to move into this point of consciousness where you just trust that the flow of your life is as it is meant to be, your critical thinking skills will focus on new ideas, because you will no longer be looking so much to avert the harm that could be avoided, and instead will look at the benefits that could be gained by trusting that your lessons are now different and they are to expand, to develop, to grow, to commune, to share, to harmoniously coexist amongst a new tribe of energetic beings, instead of looking over your shoulder, locking the doors, carrying guns, being hypervigilant to avoid any kind of a pain or a suffering. It is a process, and you will find it, but just try to, on a daily basis, relax more into this vibrational space of nothingness, of just being a point of consciousness floating through the ether without any worry or concern about the harm that might come, but instead planning on the blessings that may arrive because you are finally in that energetic imprint of unconditional love. You're unlearning much of what you were raised with and reprogramming your subconscious into a state of unconditional allowing. Your lessons are here to teach you to move into that space. So when these painful lessons arise, allow them to play out. Don't try to restrict them or avoid them, because you will just make the backlash bigger. Take your lumps, take the consequences of your past behaviors, embrace them actually if you can, and move into the next space, because when you embrace them, you are acknowledging that there is a benefit to these lessons for you and an appreciation of the learning that they have to offer. And so it is. Namaste.